So I'm Sam. I work with Success Charity. I'm the program manager for the digital therapy program, as well as some of the events that we run. If you don't know Success, we are quite a new charity, about 5 years old, and we work with children and young people who are diagnosed with a brain tumour before the age of 25. Although if you were diagnosed before the age of 25, we still work with you once you're beyond the age of 25. And as you might know, brain tumours account for 1/3 of all childhood cancer diagnoses in the UK. And although you are often cured, far too many are left with long-lasting needs. So we've got a range of services that we run at the charity, but the one we're here to talk about tonight is the digital rehabilitation. Over to you, Boda, if you want to explain who you are.
Hi, pleased to meet you. I'm Boda. I work for Rehability Online UK. Rehability Online is a remote telerehabilitation platform that's been in operation and use developed by and used by on a daily basis. There's hundreds of thousands of examples of it being used regularly over in Sheba Hospital in Israel, where it was developed. Sheba being one of the top 10 hospitals in the world, regularly through Newsweek. A few years ago, there was a small pilot where Helen Spideas, who's one of the consultant at Great Ormond Street Hospital, and obviously the founder and chair at Success Charity, made some connections based upon the problems that they were often seeing within the charity and also in the hospital in terms of helping children or young adults once they'd recovered from effectively through the process of going through their post-trauma, post-surgery, and post-brain tumor, being left with the impact of into the community and having ongoing problems and falling off a cliff in terms of community services, ongoing rehabilitation to maintain independence, let alone improve it, to maximize people's quality of life. So there was a small program that was pulled together and it was very successful. And on the back of that, over the last couple of years, the Success Charity and ourselves and Rehability Online UK have got the license in the UK to develop and utilize the system. So during the last couple of years, we've developed a program together with Success, where we've been looking to try and provide a pilot program and proof of concept here in the UK of how this remote telerehabilitation platform could be utilized to support people and young children as part of their journeys. And that program has now actually started. It started in this September. The first cohort of 10 young adults and children have been through it. There's another program of children underway at the moment. And that's what we're here to tell you a little bit more about. So do you want to take? Yeah, I'll let you go.
Oh, it's okay. I was going to say, so the purpose of the meeting tonight is just to tell you a little bit about the programme and to show you some videos of our clients and beneficiaries using it. So it's a fully structured online neuro rehab programme. So the idea is that we've made it as easy to access as possible. It's really interactive, it's engaging. If you imagine, I don't know if everyone knows what a Nintendo Wii is and used to play Wii tennis, and the webcam sort of tracks your movements, and that is how the exercise programs work. So it also involves weekly one-to-one sessions with your dedicated therapist, and they offer really flexible appointment times. So our therapists work in the evenings to fit around children going to school and college, and sometimes at weekends as well. So the 12-week programme is designed to help improve fine motor skills and gross motor skills, as well as gait and movement, balance and core strength. Although we are finding that it's having a really positive impact on memory, concentration, executive functioning as well. So, on to the next slide, please, Boda. Over to you. You can explain the technical bit.
Yeah, so technically, there's not one of the great real benefits of the system and making it so accessible and flexible is unlike lots of other products that are out there in the marketplace, there isn't no capital requirement. You don't have to buy any specialist kit. We don't have to provide you any specialist kit. All we need for people who want to take part in the program is access to a PC or a laptop with a camera. And that's fundamentally it. And that's why it's so transportable and flexible. You can access it from any pretty much laptop or a PC with a camera. We utilize the Chrome browsing system, which is freely available to everybody. But on the basis of that, when we go through an onboarding process, just to check, which we'll do before the therapists get involved, to carry out the assessments and develop And what they will do from that process, looking at the needs of each individual, is tailor make a treatment plan. And those treatment plans are reviewed every week because, as Sam said, we have a weekly session with a live therapist. But the key thing is the range of activities that are on there, cognitive functional tools, which include gamification, which are all monitored and tracked, supported by AI. And there's also hundreds and hundreds of videos which the therapist can choose, depending upon the individual needs of each child or young adult, to then create a whole bunch of content, an individual playlist. So they would work with them and support the user to engage in these activities, games, and some of those are a mixture, as you say, of cognition, a mixture of cognitive games, but also involve movement. The user's movements, which we'll show you in a minute, are motion captured. The camera actually skeletal tracks the individuals. So they're involved in moving and interacting with the games and activities, as well as following the various videos that can be programmed on a one-to-one basis. And then each week, depending upon how the child or young adult is performing, the therapist can engage with them in live sessions. And when they're involved in the live sessions on the system, they can review how they're doing, and then can set them away with a whole bunch of homework, which is basically an interactive step, which is one of the good parts of the system. The homework is also tracked. So even though the live therapist isn't there, the system will track when people are on, how much they're doing, how they're involved. So in positive terms, that really helps with adherence, because we know the system is watching what everyone's doing. But there is an ask at our end that the individuals, as much as they can, depending upon their fatigue levels and individual circumstances, do try and engage at least to 2 or 3 individual sessions a week, as well as the live sessions. Those sessions can be as short as 10 minutes, or they can be as long as 2 hours if they're particularly enjoying what they're doing. But that depends upon the individual use of the system. So the actual program itself, in terms of what the charity have funded, in terms of how they've built the program, because they believe from the original pilot we did a few years ago and the real benefits that were found with a few kids, is funding is in place for 50 children. Each child will be assessed by a registered therapist online using the platform. They'll receive a tailor-made program of online activities, be supervised weekly, as we say, and then required to take their self-practice. The first phase is the second phase is now started. The first phase is complete. We'll show you some videos in a minute of some of the children actually using the system, and some of the really interesting feedback we received, which has been collected independently by Sam on behalf of Success. We didn't want to make sure that we weren't just feathering our own nest in terms of a system and saying how good it is. But there's a 12-week program. And that means that there'll be 12 sessions. Some of those sessions have been delivered maybe over 13 or 14, 15 weeks, but allows a little bit of flexibility around holidays and people not necessarily being able to make every session. But we do ask that the individuals do try and commit with their families to creating some space so they can actually engage in that 2 or 3 times a week, as well as the live session, which is the important one with the therapist. And what we'll do here now is, this is Sarah. This is one of the therapists that was involved in the original pilot and is still involved in the delivery now. And she's just going to give you a little bit of information from her perspective of how she finds it as a therapist herself in terms of the opportunity of delivering it and working with the young people.
Hello. My role as the therapist starts with the initial assessment, where I get to meet you and find out what your needs and goals are. And you get to test out the awesome interactive platform and sample some of the many games available. Reability Online is unique in that each game played is modified to suit you, making therapy personal, interactive, fun, and best of all, you can do it at home as often as you like. We as therapists will then join you virtually for 1 session a week, in which we give you some feedback and can adapt your games in line with your progress, and even add new ones in if you're ready. It's the future of therapy, and I personally love that I get to join in and sometimes compete against you too. I would now like...
So sorry, we just cut her off there because you're just about to introduce Dr. Spadeas there in terms of the process. So we're going to show you a little bit about the program here. We've got permission from this user. This is one of the users from phase 1. He's up in the top left-hand corner. And Sarah, you can just see the figure below. She's the therapist below. So this is an active video of a session with Sarah and Ollie together working on the process. And what this program will show you here, this is the therapist view. The therapist gets a cheat mode. she gets to see what the pictures are behind the hidden cameras, whereas the user at the other end can see 8 blank cards. Now, the therapist can make these pictures more tricky. They can add them up to 12 or 16 and make the program really, really difficult. But what you might be able to see on the platform is the 2 little hands at the bottom. What this is involving is the therapist will guide and direct and make how difficult it is for the user to guide the hand over the top of one of the respective cards to hold it there. And what they have to do is use a memory game, which is this one's called, and direct to try and turn the cards over. But I'll let you have a little look yourself.
Okay.
So placing your hands over the cards. Now what you don't realise is I can actually see the answers. So my screen looks different to yours. Yours is blank cards, isn't it? And I can see the correct answers for you. So if I wanted to help, I could be kind. That's it. Keep your hand over that one and then find another one to match it.
Yeah.
Well done.
Only one who's done easy as cake.
I can make it more difficult for you if you would like. That's the beauty of this system.
Hey.
Well done.
The elephant.
Just give you an illustration of a different game. This one's called Elephant. You'll see the game in the bottom right-hand corner, and what the and then you see Sarah and the patient on the system working together. In this particular case, the system can be set up this game in many different ways, but in this particular case, to move the elephant, Ollie has to move his legs to make sure the elephant mobilizes, then use his arm to interact with the game to catch donuts in the right order that are listed. So in terms of it's a mixture between, again, activity, and we can create the difficulty up and the levels down depending upon the individual.
That's it. So you need to be marching to get the elephant moving. Well done, Oliver, that's great. And then using your arm to bring it up and down to eat the fruit, the donuts, the leaves, but not the birds. That's really good marching. Well done. That's it. Avoid the bird. Fantastic. That's it. Get that ring. Arm up. Well done.
And just to reinforce, this is Sarah's view. This is the view that Sarah's seeing. From the other side, the user sets to see, they see the big screen of the whole elephant in the game, so it becomes interactive for them. They'll just see a small screen with the therapist on, but from the user's side, they get to see it from the game basis. So if it's on a laptop or a computer or on a big screen, you can make it, or even plug it into a TV. Whatever you want to do, you can make the games look as big as it can be. But that was particularly just to refer, this is from the therapist's view. And here's one further game in terms of, again, in terms of activity, called Swipe.
Wiping the screen using both hands. That's it. And you have to reach to the top of the screen and to the corners. Well done. Using both hands if you can, Oliver. Well done.
So again, that's one of the multiple games. There's many other games on the platform. When you sign into the platform, this is what you will see as a participant's view on the homepage. You can see the range of different applications that there and are available. On the bottom right-hand corner, there's a small video link between yourself and the therapist. And what we'll do from there, not necessarily all the games that we choose, the therapist will choose each individual game that's appropriate for each individual user, and then define the difficulty. And usually, hopefully, they'll increase the difficulty into progression, but and ultimately on the other way, if things are too difficult, they can make things a little bit easier and create the variety. In the top right-hand, so you've seen Swipe there before, but this is the view you'll see in the bottom right-hand corner. The users are skeletal tracked. That's where the notes are. And that's how it controls the use of the movement. It interacts with the games and activities on the system. Again, you've seen another variation there of the memory game. And in addition to that, although we haven't got a video live here on the moment, there's literally 300 or 400 different videos that are pre-programmed into the system. And what the therapist can do, can choose those program, and they play one after another. And they basically, an instruction manual rather than a piece of paper to interact and to get the body tracking system working for each individuals to develop and follow a whole range of programs. And following phase one, we've created some new content, and that's part of the process we can do. We can upload new videos and create new content within 24 hours. So the system is very flexible. The whole system is about a range of applications within one system rather than a single application. And the key thing is the accessibility of how and when you can access this 24/7 when you're at home or at school. You can just log in and access the games and activities that have been pre-prescribed for you on a weekly basis. The only time that we do prescribe at this particular moment is we book in the weekly sessions. And it seems to be that families and users seem to like to have the same weekly time, which seems to work from the previous groups that we've worked with the Success Project so far. There is flexibility in that, but as Sam says, we've had slots at weekends that are available for people to work around their family, school and life. I think it's probably best if I let you, because you're the one that's collected all this data, if that's all right, Sam. But you can say there's one of the users here who you know pretty well, with some videos of them actually using it in the first phase of the program. But there's a little bit of feedback here from the users that Sam's been collating in terms of doing the quality assessment and the feedback.
Yeah, so after the 12 weeks had finished, I did a very informal interview and chatted with family members and the users. And it was really interesting, because we've got all the data about adherence and the goal-based outcomes and everything, but to hear it from them in their own words was really lovely. And they all picked up on slightly different things. So you can see this is Alex, and he's happy to share his photos. So his mum had to say really positive things. His overall goal, what he really wants to be able to do, is to ride a bicycle. And Sarah was working with him, and she came up with a range of mini goals to work on that. So he's got exercises to work on his balance and core strength, because that's what he finds really difficult. But she also suggested that his mum and dad get hold of, and I think they did via eBay or Facebook Marketplace, a static bike. So he was actually then practicing his exercises on a bike and following Sarah's instructions at the same time. So it's just another example of different ways that we can really tailor it for every individual user. And then we've got feedback from another couple of our users here as well. And I think the thing that really struck me when I was talking to them is families are just very grateful that the therapists spend time getting to know them. It's really individualized, and it makes a whole difference, not just to the individual user, the child or the young person, but really affects the entire family. Lots of families get involved, they do it together, they work on their exercises together. And it was really nice to hear that once the 12-week program had finished, lots of them carried on doing the exercises, or they felt fitter, or they felt stronger. Some of them talked about that they had lost weight and they were ready to go on longer walks with their families, and things that they've been missing out on for a while, they were able to do. The other thing that came out of it is that, as we all know, these children and young people, they're probably going to need input for quite a long time. And it was really nice to hear that they were able to carry on with the program on their own. They had taken that knowledge from the therapists and were just applying it in their own lives. So I'll let you read the quotes. I don't think you need me to read them to you. But it was really positive feedback. And for the physios and occupational therapists that have joined us as well, we've had increased scores on all of our goal-based outcomes as well. So we set 3 goal-based outcomes at the beginning, which the user and the family do together with the therapist. And we monitor that at 6 weeks, at halfway, and then again at 12 weeks, and adapt them if we need to. But all of them showed positive improvements. So we're really pleased with the first set of feedback, and we're looking forward to hearing what cohort 2 have to say about it as well.
So
sorry, over to you, Ben. Go on, you can.
Well, it's a team effort after all. I mean, we're working on this as a project from both sides of it. because obviously I help coordinate things in terms of that process and work with Sam in terms of developing the program. We have a number of therapists who actually deliver it, and an administrator who carries out the onboarding sessions with the families, just to make sure that all the tech is working. So when we get round to the first session with the therapist, we hopefully got any little bugs out of the way, just to make sure everything's working. And she's available there to help schedule appointments or keep appointments working. But in terms of just a high-level summary, in terms of the amazing opportunity that Success has brought, and we're really pleased to work with Success to try and deliver this proof of concept, is really enabling that high level of high-quality therapy available for users. It's free and there's flexible access, so you can use it as and when you feel free, so it can work around your day rather than having to work around your life working around therapy. There's supported independent practice in so much that there's direction and advice that's given on there. The system provides advice and support when the users are using their individual tailored programs. There is a weekly one-to-one access with a live therapist who interact with the games, give direction, and then at that particular point can then adjust and reprogram the next week's session worth of activities to make it more difficult, more variety. Again, from the comfort of home, from school, it reduces transport hassle, real significant, genuine, real life issues around fatigue that can bring, because obviously the kids are going to school and then they're tired. So the reality of the situation is the more that it can be made available and accessible, hopefully that leads to improved adherence, as well as the system itself keeping a track of things. So we can tell when people are using their self-practice sessions, when they're doing it, how much they're doing it. And the body tracking system, for example, there's one of the games with an animation and avatar. It's a simple squat, but simply you can't just sign on to the squat and the system thinks you're online. If you're actually not doing the squats, the actual body tracking system will count if the actual user, when there's nobody there, is actually doing them or not. And all that information is being fed back in terms of the project that we're doing, in terms of the data collection as well. And even so far, even very early, as Sam's already said there, we're already getting proven positive outcomes. There was from the very small initial pilot. We're getting great qualitative feedback. We're collecting more data, and we're hopefully using this as I say, a proof of concept to move this forward and how it can be shaped, adapted, and continually improved. So as we go through each phase, we're going to look at a way of continuing improving it. But even so far, it's working out really well, and we're happy to let you know about it. But one of the other key things, really, and again, I'll hand this one therefore back to you, Sam, is we're all going to be at the Success Conference.
Yes, so in a couple of weeks' time, on the 28th of February, we are holding our 9th annual conference, which this year we've called Successful Connections, because we are literally trying to connect with as many people as possible and offer our services to as many young people and children as we can. We will have on the day a live demo. So during the conference, there'll be a live demo of patients and users, or clients and users, showing you how the program works, and we'll have a stand there as well. So if you wanted to come and have a go yourself, you'd be very welcome to. So if you would be interested in joining the conference, you can scan the QR code to register. We have a very modest travel and accommodation bursary. So if you're coming from further away, you can fill in an application form and we can try and support some of the costs of getting you there. I just wanted to add, going back to the previous slide, Boda, I just wanted to say that we're not intending for this program to replace the physio or the occupational therapy that a child or a young person might be having already via the NHS or another therapist. So this is really an enhancement and an additional bonus, really. So I just wanted to make that really clear, that this isn't to replace the program of therapy that they might already be having, but it's just to enhance it and to give them that opportunity to access it at home as well.
And that's absolutely how they use it on a day-to-day basis in Shiva. In terms of the digitalization, it's about improving productivity for therapists, improving reach. It's really a tool for a therapist to use as part of the overall provision. Now, sometimes in terms of the outpatients, you use it as a discharge platform from the hospital. for people having to travel lots and lots of journeys. But instead of having to come to sessions weekly for 12 or 16 weeks, they're now turning into a hybrid solution where they're doing a mixture of live online therapy, live in-practice therapy, and individual practice. And as a result, the therapists they're really happy because they're getting improved adherence, improved outcomes. It's not intended whatsoever. It's to replace live therapists. It is intended to actually complement and be a tool for therapists to use. And as part of that hybrid solution, a flexible solution, be able to provide better services, more flexible services, better value, but also the process of that be more flexible.
Yeah. Thanks, Breda. So if you've got any questions, if anyone wants to ask anything, I can hang around for 5-10 minutes if anybody wants to ask anything specific. Otherwise, if you go to our webpage, there's information about the digital therapy program on there. And if you'd like to register or be involved in it, there's a registration form. Or come and see us at the conference. It would be really lovely to meet you and see you face to face. But that ends our session. So thank you very much for joining us. It's been really, really lovely to see all of you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. Yeah, happy to meet you all on the conference day, and any questions you've got. We look forward to meeting you soon.